All right, we should be good. If you want to take it away, Joe, that would be awesome.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joe Russo. I'm the CEO of the Palm Beach Tech Association. Thank you all for taking part in our Career Expo today. If you can't tell, I'm coming to you live from my balcony where I need a hat desperately because my hair is a mess. But we are really excited today because we wanted to do a Career Expo a couple months ago. We originally wanted to do it in person. So we had planned this all out. And then we're always going to have the virtual aspect of it. But at most, we thought we were going to have 200 people. We have over 700 people that are signed up today. And in part because, we are a dot connector to our tech industry, to our community. We connect the dots between our companies, our members, and today with people who are looking for jobs. I don't know what the final total of job opportunities is on the site today, but there are for sure dozens. And, what we're trying to do throughout this entire time that we're in is do our best to be a resource to our community, not only our companies that are members, but our individuals who make up the tech industry. So we're really excited to have Michael Corbit with us today. Michael has been at CareerSource Palm Beach County for the last few years, has been on our board of directors for the last few years. And, he has been really at the forefront of the tech industry in South Florida for the past 2 decades. He was previously involved in an organization called the Internet Coast, which helped really kind of get the ball kicked off into what would become a lot of efforts like Palm Beach Tech years ago, and has always been a helping hand to our community in various ways. So thank you very much. Of course, Nikki, for putting this entire event together. And of course, Michael, for partnering with us on it and for being here today.
We can't forget Monica.
Is Monica on? Yeah, there
she's
she
on
is.
Here. Yeah, she's the one with our logo.
Yeah.
Representing.
Yeah, and thank you, of course, to Monica too.
You too, Joe.
Okay, great. So thank you, Joe, and thank you, Nikki. Can everybody hear me? Please shake your head if you can hear. Great. Can you see my screen? Great. Okay. So I think this is wonderful. I believe you're going to see a lot more virtual hiring events coming to pass over the coming months. It's going to probably be a hybrid between in-person live and online. This will be very effective for folks that can't attend the 2 or the 4-hour window when the live in-person event takes place. But that's, I think, what we're all adjusting to in this trying times. I'm going to take some time this morning to talk about work readiness and soft skills. This may be redundant to some of you, but it's always helpful to hear things that'll get you a little bit further with a job that is something that you would like to have. Knows what CareerSource is, but we are a regional workforce board that is funded by the U.S. Department of Labor, so it's federal dollars. And we're one of 24 boards across the state of Florida. We operate from Boca Raton, Delray up to Jupiter and Tequesta and out into the Glades, Belle Glade, South Bay, and Pahokee. We have, let me try to do this way. We have 3 offices. The central office is in West Palm Beach. We have a career cottage in Delray Beach, and we have an office out in the Glades in Belle Glade. Offices are all closed for in-person visits right now, but if somebody needs assistance, we're fielding about 600 to 1,000 phone calls a day for people that are trying to get into Employ Florida or floridajobs.org to file for unemployment. Staff has been cross-trained to try to help those individuals, and it's a process we're all going through and adjusting. So any assistance you need, you can call. The main numbers are the numbers that are on the screen here, and people will get back to you. We have a lot of staff-assisted services that we provide, and we just had an executive team meeting a few minutes ago. Most of this is going to be moving online. We're starting to do that already. Resume coaching, workshops, and classes. We provide labor market information as needed. We do assessments for folks so they can determine what types of careers they may want to pursue. The assessments are valuable in telling an individual where they may be successful or where they may not be successful. So that is always helpful. We do job search coaching, and we also do job referrals. So all of these services that I'm talking about today are offered at no cost. The workshops are really effective. They're usually packed. We have waiting lists for them. The resume builder, level 2 resume, the interviewing skills class. We offer LinkedIn classes. We also offer the professional placement network for individuals that are in management positions or above. I would encourage you to go to CareerSourcePBC.com at some point today to see some of the workshops we offer. And as I said, we will begin offering these virtually and online. We also have something called a virtual career system that we've worked on for probably the last 3.5 to 4 years. The state of Florida, CareerSource Florida, has provided funding for us to basically take the career one-stop centers and put it online. And you can find all of the things in a brick and mortar facility here at virtualcareersystem.com. We have offered this to all the other workforce boards across the state of Florida. I can tell you CareerSource Broward is using it. I think CareerSource Brevard is starting to use it. There's some others that are starting to gain entry to this, but it really is a way for people to use a portal, whether it's on their phone, on a tablet, on their regular PC, to help them with their job search efforts, to connect employers with talent in the business solutions, and hopefully introducing adults to potential careers that they may want to pursue. And it's just so crazy how something comes full circle. We thought about this years ago, and now this will be something a lot of people will begin using. So let's get career ready today. I'm glad you're on this workshop. I hope that you take time to go to the career fair online. Nikki and Monica and Joe have done a great job in recruiting companies to participate in this career fair. They all have open and available jobs, or else they would not be participating. First impressions are incredibly important, and now even more, because I think what's going to happen is as people want to talk with you, as hiring managers show interest in you, they're probably going to be doing something like this face-to-face or a Skype or a go-to-meeting to try to get to know you better. And it's only going to take a few seconds for people to gain a first impression of you. That's just the way human nature is. The way you're dressed, the way that you talk, they'll try to figure out where you're at in a social level here, if you're a healthy person or not, the educational level you have, so and the ambition that you have. So first impressions are incredibly important, and I would encourage you to practice making a first impression with your family members, your spouse, your significant other, your children, whoever you interact with, because now it's going to be, for the time being, on something like this to make a first impression. So work on that and practice it. Studies show that it takes 21 repeated good experience to make up for a bad first impression. And that's a big number. So take advantage of trying to make a good impression. And when we get back to the normal, whatever that may be, the way that you present yourself is going to carry a lot of weight. The job market is going to be more competitive as we move forward. So first impressions are going to make even that more of a difference. Personal brand. We all have our own social media sites that we're on, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever they may be. Clean those up, because when a hiring manager expresses interest in you, they're going to go to those social media sites to take a very close look at your site. And it's going to take a lot of effort to make sure that your social media sites are representative of you, and take time to do that. Do not include any controversial topics, whatever that may be. Modest about yourself. Make it a true representation of your character. Try as best you can to have a professional picture. And your soft skills, the grammar that you present on there. Those hiring managers are going to take a look at your posts, whatever you are sharing, the different things that you are doing. I would very strongly encourage you to make that as professional as possible. Your clothes and your picture, what that says about your appearance, it's going to convey confidence, dependability, professionalism. When you're on a face-to-face event like this, try to do your best to be as professional as possible, and it will determine how people you meet on these types of platforms now will react to you. The hiring managers are going to decide by this, are we going to be comfortable in placing this individual in a customer-facing situation? Will they be able to communicate properly? All of those things now are going to make changes. We're going to have to make changes if we're all going to go virtual here for the near term or for the long term. Dressing for success, it's kind of a spoofy character here, but when we do open our career center and we do job fairs and hiring events, I'm always shocked by the way that people come to these events. They know they're going to be interfacing with hiring managers. Find your best dress, your best blouse, your best jacket, your best shirt, tie, shoes. Come prepared to interact with hiring managers. That is going to be part of the process that you will be evaluated on. And here's a good example of dressing for success. You can tell these people have taken time and effort to try to do the best they can to put, as it always says, put your best foot forward. I'm not sure how to talk about shaking hands online. I have not done that yet, but we are getting used to Zooms. We're all becoming Zoomers. We're all becoming GoToMeeting people. I'm on a lot of different presentations every day now, it seems, but you can always have a pleasant smile, handshake, however that may be, if you're elbow bumping or your fist bumping, whatever that may be. Introducing yourself, your 60-second, 45-second elevator pitch is going to become even more important than ever. Clearly pronouncing and stating your name, what you do, and making eye contact with people is very important. It just is that important.
There's nothing left to do with this order. It's done. It's completed.
Hey guys, this is Joe just chiming in here. We don't have all the ability to mute everybody, so can you please just take a moment right now, check your mute, and make sure you got mute on. Just everybody all at once. Okay, Michael, back to you.
Thank you, Joe. I was going to just do that. Again, introducing yourself to somebody via Skype or GoToMeeting or Zoom is become incredibly important. I'm thinking all the calls and presentations I'm on where you've got dogs or you've got your kids at home or whatever the situation is, you're going to have them in a separate room. When you do have a phone interview or a Skype face-to-face interview, you're going to have to do whatever you can do. And I know people are being supportive that you may have your kids at home and pets and so forth, but do the best you can to make it as professional as job fairs. I am always shocked that they are on their phone when they walk up to a table to talk to a hiring manager. And I've had numerous employers where they're in the middle of an interview, a person is sitting across from them, and they take a phone call. The best suggestion is to leave your phone in the car. There's nothing more important than making an impression and talking, giving your undivided attention to that hiring manager when you have that opportunity and time to do that. If you're on a Skype or a face-to-face interview today or tomorrow, whenever that is, put your cell phone to the side, turn it off, turn it over. Do not be distracted by anything. Give attention to the hiring manager that's speaking with you. I'm guessing most of the people that are on this presentation today have a professional email address. The younger people, not so much. I would really create a good professional email address, not foxychick@hotmail.com, not partyguy55 at AOL. These things we take for granted sometimes, but I see them when I see applications or resumes coming across my desk. Please clean those things up and have something professional. And being punctual and arriving on time. We had a couple of people that showed up early, and that is on time. When you show up 5 minutes early or a few minutes early, that is on time. If you have an interview, that's about the amount of time you should show up early. 5 minutes, don't show up 15 minutes early, 20, 30, that's too much time, because you do want to give some time because they may have an application or a sign-in process for you to follow. And take advantage of that. Treat the person at the front desk, the receptionist, whoever receives you, as they are the CEO of a company. And there are companies where the CEO, the executive person, they'll sit in that seat just to see how you interface with them. And after you're gone, if that's not the person, they may come back and ask that receptionist or associate, how did that person interface with you? Do you think you can work with that person? Did they treat you professionally? That job interview starts the minute you drive into that parking lot. And as soon as you get out of your car and you walk in, you talk to somebody, you are on stage at that time. Resumes. People spend a lot of time on resumes. And from my perspective, a resume is really a tool. It is something to hopefully get you a call. A resume will not get you hired. And that's why it's so important to have a professional LinkedIn account as well, because that's another tool for people to get in front of hiring managers. And think of it, why should this company hire you? People are going to be really screened and scrutinized in these coming weeks and months. It's going to take, when that phone call comes, be prepared to take it, to talk to the hiring manager, because that's the first part of the process. If that phone call goes well, that's probably going to lead to a second step, or hopefully a face-to-face interview or a Skype go-to-meeting interview. Be prepared. And the resume really allows the foundation of what the company is hopefully looking for in the skills, the experience, and the education that you are putting on that resume, and what you are putting on your or other accounts that they may be looking for. Make sure that you inventory those and you present and promote them very professionally. Resumes, a lot of times now when you send them in electronically, they're not even looked at by human eyes. So you need to customize them. You need to tweak them to fit the job that you are applying for. And many times that's just a couple of word changes to match the job description that you're trying to apply for. And the same goes for your LinkedIn account or your Instagram account or your Twitter accounts. Wherever that information may reside is incredibly important and presented properly. So do take time. If you can go to our resume classes, they're at no cost. They can help you really bump those up to the next level and hopefully set you apart from the competition. The font size needs to be readable because you never know the person that may be looking at it, the types of style of the font, and keep a resume to a front and back of one piece of paper, because if they do print it out, they only want one piece of paper. They don't want 4 or 5 pieces of paper. Make it like we present here, black ink. It doesn't matter the quality of paper. If you want to upgrade the style of paper, that's fine. And always save your resume with the name of the company, because they may call you back for a second or a third conference call or interview. Make sure you know what resume you sent to that particular employer. The other thing that I always try to tell job seekers in this day and age is follow up with a thank you email, a thank you card, anything that's going to say thank you for the time that you gave me as a job seeker in considering me for these positions that I may apply for. That really takes it to the next level. We do a lot of job fairs, and I always encourage and coach people to do that. Make sure that you look and have other people look for the spelling and the grammar. Think of the headlines that you put on your resume. They're going to You're going to call out what you're really good at in relation to the job that you're applying for. It should be first person. Do not ever put your salary history or your social on there or driver's license. That is something the company will want at a later point in time. Use bold and italics sparingly. And I see people that put their pictures and all sorts of different stuff. Keep it as professional as possible. I think a cover letter is kind of a lost art in this day and age. Do not hesitate to put together a short, concise cover letter that precedes your interview, that your resume that's going to that hiring manager. And all of these things are very important that lead to how people think of you. This is a sample of a good resume. Obviously, through our resume workshops, we'll turn to having 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 resumes to fit.
Hello, Ryan.
Everybody could put themselves on mute, please. That would be helpful.
It doesn't change.
And you can do this. I mean, sit down and write all of the information that you feel would be pertinent and relevant to putting a resume together, your interviewing skills, your job searching. Use the correct format. The information, do research on the companies. I can tell you when we do job fairs and hiring events for companies, one of the first questions they ask the job seekers is, what do you know about our company? They don't want people that are blindly just sending in applications or resumes hoping that they get a hit, almost like you're fishing in the river, in the ocean, whatever it may be. Really try to focus on the company and have good knowledge and insight to what the company does and the value that you will add to that company, why they should hire you. Soft skills are so important. I can't tell you, in the last probably 3 or 4 years, I have more executives that we interface with that say, you know what, send me somebody that has a really good attitude, that is willing to learn and wants a good job, and we'll take it from there. I'm not sure that's going to be moving forward. That may or may not be their attitude moving forward, but really soft skills are so important. How someone communicates. Can they play actively on a team? Can they communicate? Can they work in a lead role? Can they be in a subordinate role? All of these things are important because the world of work that we know is changing right now. It's probably going to be a lot more virtual, and people are going to have to be able to be flexible. Companies are going to be looking for people to move into various roles, whatever that may be, on their payroll. So I think there's a lot of opportunities. Honestly, there's a lot of companies that are standing on the sidelines right now. They may not be hiring today or tomorrow, but this is why we worked hard to put together this virtual job fair. Because again, like I said at the beginning, these companies are participating because they have open and available jobs. So they're actively searching for candidates today. So I hope that was helpful. I'll open this up for questions. You're welcome to put this in the chat box, and Nikki can read them off, but following this up with our Career Expo poster that we have here today.
Yeah, Michael, right. I know you touched on sending a thank you letter. We did have one question in the chat. Do you suggest writing a thank you email or letter after sending your resume or after you're contacted?
I would send a very polite email to the person and then follow it up with a thank you card or whatever you like to do. Lost in this.
We also had requests for your PowerPoint. Is that something you can send out, or maybe even portions of it that I can email out to everybody?
Sure. You're recording this session. Distributed to the
I have somebody that's just logged in under iPhone. If that person could put themselves on mute, because I know a couple people said they can't hear. Thank you. So yeah, the last thing I heard is, yes, I am recording this, so I can send out the video as well. I'll make sure to send that out to everybody that's registered today too.
Okay. I was thinking
Does
of
anybody have any other questions or anything? I don't see anything else in the chat.
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So when do you expect the CareerSource office to reopen?
We are proactively working on that right now. We're going to have to order a lot of things to make that happen. We would love to open as the governor starts easing and relaxing some of the regulations. Hopefully at some point in May, but right now we are closed. But if you need assistance, you have my email address. It's mcorbit@careersourcepbc.com, and I'll be happy to have the appropriate staff person get back to you with whatever your assistance is.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Wait, I go?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. You mentioned that a lot of these companies have opening positions. What are the possibilities of remote work at this current time?
I don't know. I think every company is trying to address how they're going to work moving forward. I'm sure that they're considering more remote virtual work that is going to be taking place. They're not going to want to be putting people in a touchy situation. I think people are trying to determine how their work world is going to change. But I think if you look at the open jobs through the companies that are in the virtual job fair today, and I would ask that question to the hiring managers when you can chat with them and hopefully have a face-to-face or a phone call with them.
So this is Joe. I'm going to chime in here real quick to help answer that. I've talked to a few of our member companies, and a bunch of them are continuing to onboard virtually. One of which, Modernizing Medicine, which is one of our larger members. They have 800 employees. Their CEO has done their orientations for new employees since the company started, and he's now doing all those virtually. So everyone's looking to onboard people. There are some jobs that are maybe hardware oriented, some of the IT companies that are hiring that may require some in person, but for the most part, everybody's looking to onboard people virtually.
Oh, okay. And directly to Joe, I live in Miami-Dade County, and I know this is a West Palm Beach oriented virtualization thing. So what are the possibilities of me landing a job here in Dade County?
There are some companies on our Career Expo today in Miami-Dade County. But I think the principles that Michael was talking about today are really, it's not a Palm Beach or not decision. But, we also have a resume distribution system that you could put your resume through that'll send to all of our members in addition to the career fair today. You can find that on our website under our careers tab. And just everything that you're trying, either it be in Palm Beach, Miami-Dade, or virtual, you're bound to find some good people hiring.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Actually, you mentioned, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you mentioned modernizing, I forget the name of the company, but anyway, I did reach out to them on the chat earlier this morning. And what I thought was interesting was the person, actually said, I said, good morning. They said, hi, are you interested in a job with us? But then she said, okay, we're not hiring due to COVID-19 at this time. So I thought that was weird because they were on this event, excuse me, and that they were hiring. So maybe not. So I didn't know how that worked out.
They may, if I can answer that, they may be, because I know there's a couple companies on here that do have open positions and are going to be interviewing people, but may not be actually bringing them on until about 30 days. So that might be one of the companies that are looking at doing that.
Okay, thank you.
And I see a couple questions in the chat too. Storm asked, if we were to get hired remotely, would we have to buy our own equipment or would they provide that? I know, Michael, if you want to add something to this, but I know a lot of companies are providing equipment I'm not sure if that's the norm, but I know a lot of them have been.
Yeah, I would say that most companies that are going to be hiring people remotely would provide either a monetary stipend or the physical equipment. We have pushed a lot of our people home, so we have provided laptops for them to work,
Mhm.
cell phones, so that their personal cell phone is not going out to clients and customers. So I would suggest that you ask the company that, but I would think they would do that.
Yeah. I see one more question here from Edwin. I'm looking for a tech job. If you have experience in a different area, do you recommend including that in my resume? Again, Michael, if you want to add to this, but just coming from my background is actually in staffing, I would always add experience on my resume, and I always suggest this for everybody else too, is lead with your experience, not necessarily your jobs, because that's what hiring managers are going to look for. So if you have a job that's not necessarily in tech, but you bring a skill to the table that's good, I would lead with that.
I would agree with that. I think that's good advice.
Trying to see if we've got any other questions.
The fellow below that talked about Miami-Dade, there is a virtual career fair taking place in Broward in a couple of weeks. If you go to CareerSource Broward, you'll probably see that. And if you live in Miami-Dade, I would encourage you to go to CareerSource South Florida. They handle Miami-Dade and the Keys, and that's closer proximity to you. I would leverage those resources in your local community.
I do have a question. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I've worked in different parts of the software industry, and so I've had different job roles. And so I was wondering, is it a bad thing to put kind of a more of a generic job role at the top of your resume, since if you've had experience, let's say in QA and implementations and account management, you're basically looking for, it could be any of those jobs, right? At this time. Is it a bad thing to put more of a generic kind of role at the top and just put a professional summary in there with it basically outlining all your experience?
Maybe the 3 top jobs that you feel you're most experienced in as the title: quality assurance, technical support, network administration, and then follow that with a short paragraph of supporting those, whatever you think those may be. But those 3 need to apply to the jobs that you're applying to. They need to be tied into that. Nikki, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, I think that's good too. I kind of going back to the answer to the last question. I think it's a statistic that the average hiring manager spends less than 20 seconds actually looking at a resume before deciding if they want to continue reading or reaching out to that person. So again, I don't think the job titles matter as much as the skills you're bringing to the table. So I would literally, in front of, at the top of your resume, before you even list your jobs and the job titles, literally write a skills and experience section and write bullet point all of the skills that you bring to the table, because that is literally going to be the first thing that's read, and whether the hiring manager even wants to continue to look at what companies you worked for or what job titles you had.
Nikki.
Yes.
Yeah, hi. This is Rene. Wait, I have a question for Mike, please.
Sure.
Okay, I know like Mike had mentioned that that your social media should be tailored according to the job description that you're applying for. Like, so how do you tailor your social media and your resume according to the job description for the job that you're applying to?
I understand the question.
Can you ask that one more time?
Sure. Like I know, like Michael said that that you should tailor your social media according to the job description. Wait, so how do you tailor your social media account and your resume according to the job description?
Okay, so again, your social media, LinkedIn.
Wait, I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Can everybody that's not speaking right now asking a question, or Mike, please put yourself on mute because we can't hear you.
Thank you. Okay, going back to your LinkedIn account or your Facebook account or Instagram, whatever that is, I would make sure that the information on those profiles are as professional as possible and representative of what your background and experience is. It needs to almost relate similarly to your resume, because if a hiring manager is interested in you, they're going to look at everything they can to make a informed decision on whether to call you, whether to take you to the next step, and then extend a job offer. You can answer that, Nikki, if you'd like.
Yeah, no, I agree. Same thing. I mean, when I was in staffing, the first thing we would do is we would get the resume, and some of the resumes were wonderful, but then, you know, we do live in a virtual era, so people will go and more than likely look at LinkedIn first, because it is more of a professional platform than Instagram or Facebook. But we would have a lot of people that's job experience didn't match. So, you know, we don't want to think that somebody's lying or whatever, but it does make you kind of go, okay, does this person, did they leave something out on purpose or omit something? Did they get fired from this job? Like, why do they not match? So it does just kind of put some red flags up there, whether it's intentional or not. So I would definitely at least make sure that your LinkedIn, like Michael was mentioning, has a professional headshot, you know, that the jobs match your resume. And it doesn't have to be super in depth, just, you know, the company, the years, and a brief description, but at least that you don't have them where they're completely different years or job titles.
Okay, and should I put the same thing that I put on LinkedIn on Facebook as well regarding my work experience?
Yeah, I would say anywhere that you can, make sure, like if you do have your work experience on Facebook, make sure that it does match. But if you don't have work experience on Facebook, I don't think it's necessary. That's just my opinion. I know that we really never, you know, we would look at Facebook once in a while just to get an idea as far as culture or personality, to see what, you know, somebody looks like on Facebook, because it's a more personal platform. But I would say at least LinkedIn, because that is professional, that those should match your resume.
All right, and so does that mean that? So would that mean that you have to change it, like depending on the job that you're applying to? You have to make changes on your LinkedIn profile depending on the job you apply to.
No, just making sure that your resume and your LinkedIn profiles match with the jobs that are listed. But no, you shouldn't have to change them depending on what you're applying for. It's just basically listing your history.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Michael, we're at about 11:40, so I'm going to do one more question here from the chat, and just to close it up. And if there's anything we didn't get to, I'll make sure again when I email the video out to put both myself and your contact information if anybody needs to follow up afterwards. The last question I thought here, because it seemed like an important question, was as far as which is more important, certifications or a portfolio?
I think they're equally important. I think your credentials, any type of degrees or certifications you have are incredibly important. Those kind of tie in together, and just be able to talk to that topic when a hiring manager asks you those questions, and how it would tie into the job that you're applying for at that company. You can
just to kind of expand on that point of the portfolio, what you as a hiring manager, what are you looking for when you say portfolio? What kind of projects? What would you like IT projects, web projects, sort of like design projects? What exactly do you mean by portfolio?
The question in the chat didn't say specifically, but I know just hiring managers, it's definitely more the creative roles. But I know we did used to see some resumes that listed, even if somebody was in, say, networking or whatever, like if they were a network engineer, they would list like different projects that they worked on, like major projects for their companies. Just again, it's kind of another way to add skill sets on there. But yeah, I think overall that's more for the creative roles.
If we have our own personal website, and we list sort of like, you know, our experiences on that website, can that be used as a portfolio?
Yes, yeah, especially if you're any of the creative roles, yeah, like anything in digital marketing, UI, UX, any of that. yes, I would definitely, if you have a website or some samples there, I would put a link to them. Just probably only tidbit with that, we would see people would put links to them in their resume, and for some reason it wasn't working. So definitely make sure the links work before you put them in there, because they will more than likely be checked. But that looks like all for now. I wanted to, again, just thank all of you for joining in. We've got a good amount of people that joined this Zoom call, and thank you again, Michael. And again, I'll make sure to get all this out to everybody in an email.
Thanks, Nikki. Thanks for your hard work in this.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, dog's barking. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.